Welcome to our deep dive into Yuval-Noah-Harari's Sapiens,
Yeah.
A Brief History of Humankind.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a scholarly approach today
Okay.
and really trying to dissect the core ideas,
Right.
insights from this fascinating work.
It's a book that really challenges us to rethink our place
Yeah,
in the grand narrative of history. Harari takes us on this journey from our humble beginnings as insignificant animals
right.
to our current position as the dominant force on planet Earth.
It is remarkable to consider that for the majority of human history, Homo sapiens were just another species struggling to survive.
Absolutely.
But then around 70,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. The cognitive revolution.
The cognitive revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a turning point in our evolutionary journey. It marked the emergence of what Harari calls fictive language, the ability to communicate about abstract concepts, share stories, and imagine things that don't physically exist.
Right.
This ability, he argues, is what truly sets us apart from other animals and paved the way for our dominance.
It's so intriguing to think about how this ability to believe in shared myths,
Yeah.
to construct these collective realities, has shaped everything from our social structures to our technological advancements.
Precisely. Consider the concept of a nation, a corporation, or even money.
Okay.
These are not tangible entities, right?
Right.
They exist because we collectively agree to believe in them.
Yeah.
This shared belief, this imagined reality, allows us to cooperate on this massive scale,
Right.
build complex societies, and achieve feats that would be impossible for individuals acting alone.
Yeah, it's almost like a superpower, this ability to weave narratives and create meaning out of thin air.
It is.
But as Harari points out, this power is a double-edged sword.
Indeed. The same capacity for shared myths that enables cooperation can also be used to justify exploitation,
Right.
violence, and oppression.
Of course.
Throughout history, those in power have often used narratives and ideologies to legitimize their rule and maintain control over others.
Harari uses the example of the Peugeot company to illustrate this point.
Okay.
It's a tangible entity with factories, employees, and products. Yet its existence ultimately rests on our collective belief in the legal and economic framework that allows for its creation.
It's a powerful example of how imagined realities shape our world. The Peugeot company exists because we believe in the concept of a corporation.
Right.
The idea that a group of people can come together and act as a single legal entity.
It makes you wonder about the nature of reality itself.
Yeah.
If so much of what we consider real is based on shared beliefs, what does that say about the world we inhabit?
It's a profound question that Harari grapples with throughout the book.
Yeah.
He challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about what is real and to recognize the power of human imagination in shaping the world around us.
Speaking of shaping the world, the book then delves into another pivotal moment in human history,
Yeah.
the agricultural revolution, which began around 12,000 years ago.
A agricultural revolution, often portrayed as this triumph of human ingenuity. A leap forward that allowed us to settle down, cultivate crops, and build permanent settlements. However, Harari encourages us to examine the less discussed downsides of this transition.
He argues that agriculture, while allowing for greater food production and population growth, also led to a decline in the quality of life for many individuals. Hunter-gatherers, he suggests, enjoyed a more diverse diet, worked fewer hours, and were less vulnerable to disease outbreaks.
Agriculture, on the other hand, tied humans to the land, leading to longer working hours, a more limited diet, and increased exposure to pathogens due to increased population density and proximity to livestock.
It's a fascinating perspective that challenges the traditional narrative of progress.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder if the shift to agriculture was truly a step forward,
Yeah.
or if it inadvertently led to new forms of hardship and inequality.
Harari argues that agriculture resulted in the emergence of social hierarchies. As those who controlled land and resources accumulated wealth and power at the expense of others.
Yeah.
This concentration of power and resources laid the groundwork for the rise of cities, states, and empires.
And this brings us to the rise and fall of empires.
Yes.
A recurring theme throughout human history. Harari uses the example of Sargon of Akkad,
Okay.
who lived in Mesopotamia around 2300 BCE as a prime example of an empire builder.
Sargon, yeah, he's credited with creating the world's first empire, uniting disparate city-states under his rule. His reign marked a turning point in human history as empires began to emerge as the dominant form of political organization.
Empires played a crucial role in shaping the world we inhabit today.
For sure.
They facilitated the spread of ideas, technologies, and cultures across vast distances,
Right.
connecting different regions and peoples in unprecedented ways.
However, it's essential to acknowledge the dark side of empires as well.
Right.
Their expansion often came at the expense of conquered peoples, leading to exploitation, violence, and the suppression of local cultures.
Harari reminds us that empires often relied on narratives of superiority and domination to justify their actions. They claimed to bring civilization and progress to the conquered.
Right.
But their motivations were often rooted in a desire for power and resources.
He challenges us to view empires through a critical lens, to recognize both their contributions to human history and the injustices they perpetuated.
This nuanced perspective on empires is essential for understanding the complex interplay of power, culture, and ideology that has shaped our world.
It's a perspective that encourages us to move beyond simplistic narratives of good and evil and to grapple with the complexities of human history.
And this leads us to another pivotal moment in human history, the scientific revolution, which began in Europe around the 16th century.
The scientific revolution
Yes.
marked a profound shift in how humans viewed the world and their place within it. It was a period of intense intellectual ferment, characterized by a rejection of traditional authorities and an embrace of empirical observation and experimentation.
Harari argues that a unique set of circumstances in Europe contributed to the emergence of this new way of thinking. He points to the fragmentation of political power, the rise of a merchant class, and the rediscovery of ancient Greek and Roman texts as key factors.
He suggests that the European exploration of new lands and cultures also played a role, as it exposed Europeans to different ways of understanding the world and challenged their existing assumptions.
Harari also highlights the role of printing technology in disseminating new ideas and fostering intellectual debate across Europe. The printing press allowed for the mass production and distribution of books, pamphlets, and scientific treatises, creating a public sphere where new ideas could be debated and disseminated widely.
This access to information and the ability to challenge established authorities were crucial to the scientific revolution's development.
It's fascinating to consider how these seemingly disparate factors, political, economic, social, and technological, converged to create the conditions for this intellectual revolution to take root and flourish.
It highlights the complex and interconnected nature of history and the importance of considering multiple perspectives when trying to understand why events unfold the way they do.
And as we delve deeper into the scientific revolution and its implications, we encounter a fascinating and complex relationship, the marriage of science and empire.
Harari argues that the scientific revolution and European colonialism were intertwined. European exploration and conquest provided both the impetus and the resources for scientific investigation, leading to new discoveries that often serve to advance imperial agendas.
The example of James Cook's voyages to the Pacific is a striking illustration of this point. Cook's expeditions were groundbreaking in terms of cartography, natural history, and anthropology. But these expeditions also played a role in paving the way for British colonization of the Pacific.
It's a reminder that scientific progress is not always a neutral force, that it can be harnessed to serve particular interests and ideologies.
Harari challenges us to recognize this complex interplay between science, power, and ideology, and to be mindful of the potential for scientific knowledge to be used for both beneficial and exploitative purposes.
It's a perspective that encourages us to view scientific progress through a critical lens, to consider not just the potential benefits, but also the potential risks and unintended consequences.
And this awareness of the potential downsides of progress is especially important as we enter an era of unprecedented technological advancement, an era shaped by breakthroughs in fields like biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology.
Harari's exploration of these emerging technologies
Yeah.
and their potential impact on the future of humanity is both exhilarating and unsettling.
Yeah.
He challenges us to grapple with the ethical and societal implications of these advancements, to consider not just what is possible, but also what is desirable.
He reminds us that the future is not predetermined, that it is shaped by the choices we make individually and collectively.
And as we stand at the cusp of what could be a new era in human history,
Right.
an era defined by our growing ability to manipulate the very building blocks of life.
Yeah.
It's imperative that we engage in a deep and thoughtful conversation about the values and principles that will guide our actions. It's a sobering thought, but one that forces us to confront this immense power we now wield. Harari's exploration of bioengineering is particularly thought-provoking. You know, he suggests we are on the verge of this new era, where we can manipulate our biology, potentially even exceeding the limitations set by natural selection.
It's a concept that has fascinated and frightened humanity for centuries. The idea of exceeding our natural limits, of becoming something more than human, raises profound questions about what it means to be human in the first place.
Harari delves into the history of bioengineering, highlighting that it's not this new phenomenon. He points to practices like castration used for millennia to control behavior and social hierarchies as an early form of manipulating human biology.
It's a stark reminder that we've been tinkering with the building blocks of life for a long time, albeit in less sophisticated ways than what's now possible with genetic engineering.
Exactly. Today, we're manipulating the genes of animals, creating cows that produce more milk, or pigs that grow faster. Harari even discusses the possibility of resurrecting extinct species, like mammoths, and perhaps even Neanderthals.
The idea of bringing back extinct creatures is both thrilling and ethically complex. It makes you wonder about the potential consequences, both intended and unintended, of such interventions.
Harari doesn't shy away from these ethical dilemmas. He forces us to confront the potential risks of bioengineering, such as the unintended ecological consequences of reintroducing extinct species, or the societal implications of creating a class of genetically enhanced individuals.
These advancements could exacerbate existing inequalities and lead to new forms of discrimination.
Harari's discussion of the potential for a biological caste system is particularly chilling. He suggests that if we're not careful, bioengineering could create a society where the wealthy and powerful have access to genetic enhancements that give them an unfair advantage over others.
It's a dystopian vision that echoes some of the concerns raised in science fiction, but it's one we need to seriously consider as these technologies become increasingly accessible.
Beyond bioengineering, Harari also explores the potential for artificial intelligence to reshape humanity's future. He introduces the concept of the singularity, a hypothetical point in time when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, leading to rapid and unpredictable technological advancements.
The singularity is a concept that often evokes both wonder and fear. It's the idea that our own creations could surpass us in intelligence and capability, potentially leading to a future where humans are no longer the dominant species on the planet.
Harari acknowledges the uncertainty surrounding the singularity, but he argues that it's a possibility we need to take seriously. He challenges us to consider the potential benefits and risks of creating machines that might surpass us in intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving abilities.
It's a question that has captivated philosophers, scientists, and science fiction writers for decades. What happens when our creations become more intelligent than their creators?
Harari doesn't offer easy answers, but he encourages us to engage in a thoughtful and informed discussion about the potential implications of the singularity. He suggests that the choices we make today regarding the development and regulation of artificial intelligence will have profound consequences for the future of our species.
It's a call to action, urging us to be proactive in shaping the future of AI, rather than simply reacting to its development.
Speaking of shaping the future, Harari's exploration of happiness and its relationship to human progress is a fascinating departure from the more technological themes of the book.
It's a question that's perplexed philosophers for centuries. What is happiness and how do we achieve it? Harari takes a unique approach, drawing on insights from evolutionary biology, psychology, and even Buddhist philosophy.
He challenges the common assumption that material progress and technological advancements automatically lead to greater happiness. In fact, he argues that despite our unprecedented levels of wealth and comfort, we are not necessarily happier than our hunter-gatherer ancestors.
This goes against the narrative we often hear about progress and modernity. We tend to assume that having more possessions, more technology, more choices will lead to greater happiness.
Harari suggests that happiness is not simply a product of external circumstances, but is also influenced by our biology and our mindset. He introduces the concept of a happiness set point, a baseline level of happiness that is largely determined by our genes.
This implies that while external events can cause temporary fluctuations in our happiness levels, we tend to revert back to this baseline over time.
It's a sobering thought for those who believe that happiness can be achieved by constantly chasing external goals.
Harari's analysis suggests that true happiness might not be found in acquiring more things, but rather in cultivating inner peace and contentment.
He draws on Buddhist teachings to support this perspective, highlighting the importance of mindfulness, acceptance, and the recognition of the impermanent nature of all things.
Buddhism offers a path to happiness that focuses on detaching from our desires and finding peace in the present moment, regardless of our external circumstances.
Harari's exploration of these alternative approaches to happiness is a refreshing counterpoint to the often materialistic and consumerist values of modern society.
It encourages us to consider the possibility that true happiness might lie not in accumulating wealth and possessions, but rather in cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.
And this brings us to the heart of what makes Sapiens such a thought-provoking book. It's not just a history of our species, it's an exploration of what it means to be human. To grapple with the big questions about our past, our present, and our future.
Harari challenges us to confront the ethical dilemmas of our time, to consider the unintended consequences of our actions, and to be mindful of the power we wield as a species that has reshaped the planet in profound and often irreversible ways.
He reminds us that the future is not predetermined, that it is shaped by the choices we make, individually and collectively.
And as we stand at a crossroads in human history, facing unprecedented technological advancements and existential challenges, the insights offered in Sapiens are more relevant than ever.
It's both exhilarating and daunting to realize that we are the architects of our own destiny. Harari's book prompts us to ask ourselves some fundamental questions like, what do we want our future to look like? What values will guide our choices as we navigate these uncharted waters of bioengineering, artificial intelligence, and other transformative technologies?
It's a call to action for all of us, not just scientists and policymakers. We all have a stake in shaping the future. And Harari's book provides us with this framework for thinking about the challenges and possibilities that lie ahead.
One of the key takeaways from Sapiens is that progress is not this linear or inevitable process. It's often messy and unpredictable, and comes with both benefits and drawbacks. As we've discussed, even advancements like the agricultural revolution had unintended consequences that shaped the course of human history.
It reminds us we need to be critical thinkers, to question assumptions and to be aware of the potential long-term impacts of our actions. It's not enough to simply embrace new technologies without considering their potential downsides.
He encourages us to adopt a more holistic view of progress, one that considers not just technological advancements, but also their impact on human well-being, social justice, and the environment.
It's about finding that balance between embracing innovation and preserving the values and qualities that make us human.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that true progress is not just about accumulating wealth or technological power, but about creating a world where all humans can flourish and live meaningful lives.
Harari's discussion of interconnectedness is also particularly relevant in today's globalized world. He reminds us that the choices we make in one part of the world can have ripple effects across continents and generations.
He emphasizes the importance of recognizing our shared humanity, of understanding that we are all part of this complex and interconnected web of life. Our actions, whether large or small, have the potential to impact others in profound ways.
It's a perspective that encourages empathy, compassion, and a sense of global responsibility. It reminds us that we're not isolated individuals, but part of a larger human family.
Harari's book challenges us to move beyond narrow self-interest and to embrace a more expansive vision of what it means to be a citizen of the world.
It's about recognizing that our destinies are intertwined, that the choices we make today will shape the world we leave behind for future generations.
Sapiens is not simply a history book. It's a guide for navigating the complexities of the 21st century. It equips us with the knowledge and perspectives we need to make informed choices about the future we want to create.
It's a book that challenges our assumptions, expands our understanding of what it means to be human, and inspires us to think critically about the role we play in shaping the course of history.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive into Yuval-Noah-Harari's Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. We hope you found this exploration as thought-provoking and insightful as we have.
We encourage you to continue to reflect on the themes and ideas presented in this book, and to engage in conversations with others about the future of our species. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking knowledge.